Hello and welcome to another episode of Make Love Real, How to Create More Love in Your Life. I'm Mia Saenz, and in this episode, I get to introduce you to a dear friend of mine who's an amazing colleague as well, and her name is Gaia Ferreira. So welcome.
Hi, Mia.
It's awesome to have you here. I do have to say that I'm excited to have her share with us about, which is what she wants to talk about how important routines are that support our daily life, our morning, everything. And what I find in that that's so powerful is that can literally, and she's going to share probably obviously a lot more, but that can really transform our entire experience in life. And so will you share with us how you got into this line of work and a little bit about yourself, because you are very fascinating.
Thank you, Mia. So I guess originally I was working in IT and I had what people would call a traditional, typical 9-to-5 job. Though it wasn't. I was an executive by the time I was 32. I had 2 kids, lived in Madrid, but worked for an American company out of their French office. So I burned out big time. So I always say that my life went from profits to passion to purpose. So definitely my executive career was the profits part. And when I decided to quit, I think just about everybody thought I was crazy, because you give up the salary, the vacation, the status, right? Like it's a big deal to quit a job, especially one that had so much promise. But there's something inside of me, I couldn't do it anymore. And it's really important to listen to that internal conflict, because that internal conflict is always steering you where you need to go, or where your heart is telling you need to go. And so I quit, and I always wanted to be, so growing up, there were 2 things I wanted to be: either a rock star or a celebrity chef. Now, the rock star thing, when you're 35, you're probably not going to start a music career. So I went for the chef career. Went back to school, got my master's diploma as a Grand Chef de le Cordon Bleu and a sommelier certificate as well. Got pregnant with my 3rd and started my own business. So I started a catering business. And when you work from something you're really passionate about, the money doesn't matter, the hours don't matter, the effort doesn't matter, because you're working from the heart space. And what I discovered is that working from there, everything just comes towards you. Everything you're meant to have, everything that's resonating with your energy just comes freely at you. And in less than a year, so I had a catering business. I got a brand ambassadorship for a company in Spain that imported American food. So I became known as the American chef. And with them, we started a cooking school. So every Saturday I'd give cooking demonstrations. This got me on television all the time, talking about Thanksgiving and talking about Christmas in the US. And then from there, I got my own TV show, which was like a dream come true. And it took less than a year once I committed to what I was passionate about. From there, so just as everything was really starting to take off, I have a friend who suddenly died. And it kind of came as a shock to me. So she had 3 kids the same age as my 3 kids, and I couldn't stop crying. Like, I didn't know what had happened to her. I just knew she had died because her Facebook page was all like rest in peace, and I didn't know what had happened. So I just cried for probably, it was a month. I sent text messages. I wasn't being responded to. Eventually her husband got a hold of me, and he explained that she went into hospital not feeling well and was given 7 days to live from some very aggressive cancer. And it hit me so hard, because here I was making these amazing cakes and these amazing, deliciously rich food, and I didn't know what it was doing to our health or to the health of my clients. So I committed to looking into becoming a nutritionist. And again, as the universe works, when you are determined to make something happen, it gave me another sign, right? Like, I remember thinking, I was driving on my way to a cooking class that I was delivering on barbecuing in the summer. And the class was sold out and everybody had prepaid. So there was like 20 people who prepaid. 2 people showed up. And the only 2 people who showed up were nutritionists. And so I spent the evening talking to them about nutrition schools and how do you choose and who do you go for, and and so I came out of that class. We were already moving to Ireland at that point, so I signed up to a nutrition course here in Ireland. I did my nutrition diploma, and that then got into coaching, like coaching health and wellness, NLP, stress management. That then I what's it called, boomeranged back into the business world, and now I just tie it all in together. So I've since also, if you've never been to Ireland, take the time to come to Ireland. It is one of the most beautiful countries you'll ever visit, and it's so spiritual. Like, even if you're not a spiritual person by default now, you come here and it's just everywhere. The energy of the land here is so different. And so we came to Ireland, and I got into a lot of spiritualism, the mysticism that just lives in Ireland and the Irish people, and embedded that into my coaching. And so now I coach so on personal fulfillment, and I work with business leaders and entrepreneurs to help them really tap into the gifts that they naturally have, the success that they already have, the talents that they have to make that success happen. And together we dive deep into finding what their unique mission on this earth is, so that they can expand into the world with good, with doing more good. So I always call it, it's like, what I say is that it's to live, love, and lead from the heart. So.
It's beautiful. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah. I love your story. I've heard it many times, of course, and it's very powerful because, and of course, as friends, we also know that there's more in between, but the journey that you've been on is remarkable. And so it just shows what a remarkable woman that you are. So thank you.
Thank you, Mia.
Will you please start with this, how to secure this morning ritual that'll make us into these amazing, her business is called the Titans. So it makes us into these.
So I create Titans, right? So, and just to explain what that is, because Titans, I think we think of like football teams, and we think of men mostly, like, Titans of industry are typically these big characters, right? Like Dale Carnegie, Warren Buffett. But that's the Titan, actually, in Greek mythology, were the sons and daughters of Mother Earth and Father Sky. So they're the balance of spiritual and physical worlds. And that's really what I'm going for, is to create these leaders. And again, you don't have to be an executive to be a Titan. It's, if you head up a company or a family or a team, you're a leader. If you have the power of influence over others, and the secret here is that we all do, you're a leader, right? And as a leader, it is important that we are balanced individuals, because otherwise what we're putting out into the world is ego. What we're putting out into the world is our judgment, our fears. It's not love. It's not understanding. It's not expansion, right? And I think what's important to see is that love is an expanding energy. Fear is a contracting one. So whenever you're going about your day and you're feeling contracted, or you're feeling friction, or you're feeling smaller, there's judgment, there's fear, there's rules, there's expectations in there. Because when you're in love, I mean, for anybody who's ever been in a relationship, right? When you're in love with someone, it's such a wonderful feeling, because you feel giant, you feel enormous, you feel like your body might be this big, but your energy is this big, right? It expands you. It's an amplifier of everything that's good about you. So to go back to your question, how do you live more fully every day with these routines that expand your success, right? And the first thing to do is to really listen to what's going on inside. So listen to what you're naturally driven to do versus what others are telling you to do. I mean, we're in a world of information overload, right? So there's no shortage of information. If you don't know something, you can find out in 3 seconds by typing it in Google, right? If you want to learn something, the self-education world is just blowing up. So there's no shortage of information. And the only information that matters is the one that's inside of us, because that's our code, right? That's our unique gift that's been given to us divinely. And that's the one that we're meant to expand into the world because no one else has it. And being unique is scary, but if we look at all of those people out there that we admire them because they're unique. And what they were very diligent in doing is finding those routines that expand who they are, their uniqueness, their gift, their purpose, that make them feel more of themselves. And now, you asked about morning, right? I would actually say that more important than your morning routine is your evening routine. And I'm going to explain it really quickly. So, what a lot of us don't mind is how we go to sleep at night. And we have lights on far longer than our human bodies are meant to tolerate. We have now devices that we can be on all the time. Most of us take our phone to bed with us, use it as an alarm clock or a last minute review of our emails or whatever the news is that day, right? And we're being pumped with all this information that is from the outside world. And whatever we go to sleep thinking about at night, that's stewing inside our system for the entirety of our sleep, right? So if you go to bed worried about the next day, stressing out about that meeting or the report or the kids, or this is what is going to be stewing inside of you all night long. And guess what you're waking up with?
The same shit.
Yeah, exactly. You're waking up with a fully cooked stew, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's really important to go to bed at night, visualizing or meditating or tapping into the energies we want to feel. So if you want to feel happy, make yourself think about happy memories, right? So whatever energy you want to wake up in, that's the energy you need to go to sleep in.
I totally agree.
Yeah. And then that makes your morning easier, because what holds us back in the morning from our routines, it's not that we don't know what to do. It's not that we don't have time to do it. It's that we're not committed. And we're not committed because most people are waking up kind of like zombies, right? And most people, like no person who gets up with a pep in their step is having a hard time with their morning routine.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right.
So the pep in the step comes from making sure that what you're stewing overnight is something good for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say that that's probably the number one routine to take on. Everything else comes from that, because everything else comes from clarity and having that space inside to say, I want to run, I don't want to run. I want to be a vegetarian, I want to be a vegan. Like everything else stems first from that good night's sleep and how you wake up.
I agree. I actually have a recording on one of my CDs called Restful Intentions, because it does program us. We can program us for the next day, and that day can be smooth. I also think that once you have that calmness at night, that the mornings, it's easier to do your routine. It's easier to feel the balance. It's easier to meditate or pray or have your coffee with gratitude, that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, and that's, yesterday I was making my morning coffee and I actually thought of you because I think we talked about this once, like everything can be a meditation.
Mm-hmm.
Like absolutely everything can be a meditation. The only thing we need to do is to do that thing with intention,
Right.
not to just breeze through it or to do it in automatic mode. But so Tony Robbins calls it being conscious, like being conscious with our unconscious. Right? Mm-hmm. What most people are doing is they're consciously living life unconscious, or rather they're unconsciously living life in an unconscious state of activity. So they don't even know that they're in action because they're not thinking about it. They're in automatic mode. They're like robots. And we need to really, well, we don't need to, but you can choose to. You can choose to be intentional. So yesterday and this morning, I made my coffee and I slowly poured the milk and I slowly warmed it up. And I sat next to the coffee machine as it percolated the fresh beans and I took in a good whiff of the fresh, percolated beans of coffee. Like, I mean, there's no better smell on the planet except for maybe baby skin. and slowly put my sugar in it with intention, right? And stirred it, and every stir was like another thought until that first sip just feels so good. And bringing intention to everything you do is another key to being more centered, being more us, being more in love with us, with ourselves.
That's beautiful. And that's so true. That's awesome. It's about time to reflect on your, not, and when I say awesomeness, I don't mean let's do that in vanity, but like you said, it's about reflecting on everything that goes around and who you are. And that's a real beautiful centering moment that most people take for granted. So that's awesome. Wow, that was a lot of great info. Will you share with us your free gift? Because that's going to be great too.
Yes. So if you go to my website, GaiaFerreira.com, and I'm pretty sure
Send it out.
you're going to
Yeah.
put the link. Yeah. So there's a lot of R's in it. GaiaFerreira.com. You go to the store. There is a freebie there, and it's an ebook, and it's 35 power routines that drive your personal success. And so the book has 3 chapters. It's not a very big book. It's only about 28 pages. It has 3 chapters. The first page is really to help you understand why you do what you do, and to understand whether you're in what I call push energy or pull energy. Push energy is that external feeling that you have to do what someone else told you, right? That information we get from the outside that we say, oh, I need to do this. I need to do this sales campaign. I need to be on social media to grow my business. I need to give a hug to let people know I love them. Like, that's all bull caca, okay? What you need to do is only listen in and follow your pull energy. And that's the stuff you're pulled to do. Not because you have to, not because someone told you to, but because it's so alive within you. This is the essence of your true authenticity. And it may be the thing that people think is weird, but I promise you they're only going to think it's weird the first or second time, and then they're going to know it's your thing, and it becomes a part of your wonderful, unique identity that only you have and are here to share. So the book, the first chapter goes through the push and pull energy, how to recognize it, how to understand it, and how to start shifting from a push energy to a pull energy. The second chapter is a list of 35 routines that the gurus say they do as part of their success mechanism, right? You're not supposed to do all 35. It's just a reference tool. And you go through them and you pick the ones you're pulled to do. And you pick 2 or 3. And that's the only 2 or 3 that you do for the first month until they're embedded. And once they're embedded, apologies for that. I think my phone just rang. I thought I had it on silent here and airplane mode. But anyways, technology, when you pick the 2 or 3, and once you've embedded them, then you can add another 2 or 3. And the third chapter is about making it work. So it's a little bit more information on how to make sure that what you want to do is getting done, right? Like, how do you build more momentum? How do you build more consistency? How do you get more support and accountability? Because for all of us, this, it's probably the biggest struggle is to keep going when things get tough, right? So there's a full chapter on that.
Fabulous. That's going to be great. I actually want to download that. That's super.
What do you mean you haven't yet?
Oh boy. I'm like, I won't even think.
For your honesty.
Well, yeah, I have a new assistant. We have 5 shows this year. We have our group courses, my clients. Yes, a lot of beautiful stuff. But
own it, girlfriend, own it.
well, that's why I now come into the office on the weekends so that I can feel like I'm caught up, but I can do those things that I want to do. I can do the extra studying that I want to. So, because it's for me.
Right. So. And that's a great example. Exactly, because you're going into the office to do work that you love.
Yes.
Would you feel so energized to do it if it was like something you had to do because your boss was asking for TPS reports? I don't know if you remember that show, The Office, the Office Space, right? With where's those TPS reports? Like, who wants that? That's not the life we're meant to live. That's contracting. We're meant to expand, and we all have a gift to share. We might not have the confidence to do it. We might not have the courage to do it, but that's where coaching comes in. You get a coach to help you, because family and friends, they mean well, but a lot of them come, they're helping you from their experience, from their fears, from their worries, because they love you. And that's where coaching really comes in. A coach is unbiased. They're trained to listen to those things that other people don't hear, right? Those little subtleties, and you know what I'm talking about, right, Mia?
I do.
Like those little little subtleties in your energy and your pauses and your why this word and not that word, right? All those little indicators that lets us know where you're truly at in your journey, so that we can shift that and really make you the best you can be.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you. Now you've given so much, and that's almost like your closing statement there, but is there any last thing on your heart and mind that you'd like to share before we say goodbye?
Sure. We are we're all on a journey, and our journey, I believe, is to go back to the genius we knew we came into this world with when we were children, right? As children, there are no limitations. And if you have multiple children, you'll notice each child is different. They ask different questions, they're interested in different things. And all of that, it gets dulled out over life. And our journey is to go back and find that again, to find our genius again, so that we spend our life playing, not working, right? So find that little nugget. It doesn't have to be anything big. Just remember those good moments, those happy moments of your childhood, those moments where you felt like the world disappeared around you. And whatever it is you are doing there, start doing that again.
Yeah.
Because that's where a lot of your own personal magic lies.
I love that. That's where the passion lies, right? The magic.
Exactly.
It's beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you for being on the show. It's always
Thank you,
lovely to
Leah.
have you. Thank you. And everyone, thank you for joining us for this episode with Gaia, and we'll see you in another one.